This will be a breakdown of the Yankees roster as it currently stands. So, if no free agents are signed, which doesn't look likely, as at the time of recording, there is 2 hours until a lockout. So, if no free agents sign with the Yankees in those 2 hours, then this will be their roster as it stands. So, this is going to be a deep dive into the players on the roster, where the Yankees should have improved, internal options if players get injured, just a full analysis of every position on the roster so you know who will be playing if injuries happen and what the opening day lineup would look like currently. So, let's get started into pitching, because I feel like pitching is one of the more interesting spots that the Yankees have right now. So, the rotation, as in my mind, goes Garrett Cole, Jordan Montgomery, Jamison Tyone, Luis Severino, and Domingo Garman. Now, the issue there is that Tyone is injured, and he's expected to join the Yankees in spring training, like midway through spring training, so he won't be fully healthy. Severino just came off of Tommy John, pitched a little bit last season, but we don't know if he has the capability to fully be a starter. Domingo Garman didn't pitch at all in 2020 because he was suspended, and then in 2021 he pitched a little bit, but yet again had injury problems. That's three pitchers right there who are coming back off of injuries, and two of them who haven't pitched a lot, in Luis Severino and Domingo Garman. I trust Tyone a little bit more for him coming off of his injury, just because, they caught it early, and he pitched a lot last season. So this is my plan to address that. Have Nestor Cortes Jr. and Michael King as your two long relief pitchers. This works perfectly. Michael King does his best work in the bullpen. He is really good out of the bullpen. He had around a 5 ERA in the rotation in his 63 innings. He pitched a pretty equal amount, around 30 innings in the bullpen, 30 in the rotation. And he had around a 5 ERA in the rotation and 2.5 in the bullpen. This is easy. Have King in the bullpen. He also has a minor league option. So what you could do is, say, have Luis Severino pitch 4 innings. Then you bring in King to pitch the next 2 or 3. That way Severino's pitch count is still low and helps him keep a manageable workload. And then after King pitches there, you can option him to the minors because he has 2 minor league options left. Cortes, you can do the same with, say, Garman, for example. But I would keep him on the squad. I wouldn't option him to the minors. But you could keep him on the squad. Domingo Garman pitches 4 innings. He pitches 2. And then he can still be a pretty decent lefty, in those 5 days in between in that rest, where Garman has rest and it's not pitching. He can still be a long relief pitcher. And then you can just flip-flop King, giving aid to Garman. So that would be what I would do. Have the rotation as Garrett Cole, Jordan Montgomery, Jamison Tyone, Luis Severino, Domingo Garman, and then have Cortes and King in long relief. You can also have them as emergency starters. So say if an injury happens, or, you just have a long patch of games where people aren't getting days off as commonly as you want, just you can prepare ahead of time and throw in Cortes into one of those starts. And I think Cortes should stay in the bullpen. He, like King, has done his best work in the pen, and he got relatively lucky. He had a 2.9 ERA and 3.78 FIP. So I think keeping him where he's done his best is optimal, and just watching him pitch, when he was a starter, he could go through the 4th inning, but once it got to the 5th, he was winded and he got hit around. So having him as an emergency starter / long relief pitcher is where he will thrive. That is my plan for the rotation there. You have 7 pitchers in the rotation, with one of them being shuffled up and down between the minors. Now, for the bullpen, you have Aroldis Chapman, Wandy Peralta, Joely Rodriguez and Lucas Licky as your left-handed relief pitchers. That is 4 pitchers, and I love all of them. Rodriguez is mainly only good against lefties, but there are still kind of exceptions where you can have a left-handed specialist. For instance, if there's 2 outs left in an inning, then you can bring him in, and he'll only need to pitch to 1 batter, because you're allowed to do a pitching change in between that break, as it's not subtracting time away from the game. So he can be your left-handed specialist, and all 3 of those guys are just really good. I know Chapman's had issues, but I think he's going to work it out. Now, the name missing here is Zach Britton. He underwent Tommy John surgery, and I don't think he's going to pitch. Really sad. Then, the 3 right-handed pitchers that you have are Chad Green, Clay Holmes, and Johnny Lasagna. So, Green, I know some people don't like him. I don't get it. He's a solid pitcher. Really good. He's going to have a low 3 ERA and maybe pitch 2 innings sometimes. So, I like him a lot. Then you have your high relief guy in Loizica. Again, he was lights out. Really, really good. He's one of the most underrated relievers. He can go 2 innings. He can also be used as a closer. Really good right-handed pitcher. He's fantastic. Then you have Holmes, who was a steal at the trade deadline. He turned it on with the Yankees. He worked out his control. He's getting a ton of strikeouts. Filthy sinker. So I think he's going to mimic some of that success. Maybe be a little worse. Still overall, very good. So that's 4 left-handed pitchers in the bullpen and 3 lefties. That's 7 in the bullpen. That's not including Britton because he'll be on the 60-day IL. In total, that would have that 14 pitchers on your active roster. I could see Michael King being shuffled up and down though, so more at like 14 to 13, which is pitcher heavy, but still reasonable. The emergency starters in the minors would be Luis Gill and Albert Abreu. I don't really like Abreu. I don't think his stuff is good. I think he pitched too many innings last year and was hit hard. So I don't want to see him pitch too much. I think that Gill should be traded for a trade for Luke Voigt. But if he's not, then I'm fine having him as an emergency starter for injuries. If we have something where 4 guys go down, he can pitch. Walks might be a little bit of an issue, but he can still go out there and throw you 5 to 6 innings. The lesser-known players who could pitch are Steven Ridings, J.P. Sears, Ron Mauricio, Yoendis Gomez, Clark Schmidt, and Davy Garcia. Schmidt you've heard of the most of all these players, I would guess, because he's played in the majors. He's thrown 12 innings in the majors, but he had a lot of injury problems last year. I think that he won't be as effective because his spin rates plummeted after the sticky substance crackdown. He could still be used as an emergency starter from the minors. Ron Mauricio was added to the Rule 5 draft, and he's one of my favorite pitchers in the farm. Relief pitcher, and in 66.1 innings in the minors, he put up a 2.04 ERA with 14.2 strikeouts per 9 across AAA and AA. He's someone who would mainly be added if there is bullpen injuries. He's not a starter. I still really like him. Now, the main starter here that would be added would be J.P. Sears. He put up a 3.46 ERA in 104 innings across AA and AAA with 2.5 walks per 9 and 11.8 strikeouts per 9. He actually pitched his best in AAA with a 2.87 ERA and 53.1 innings pitched. I could see him being another emergency starter like Abreu in that sense. And then I also touched on Clark Schmidt and Yoendis Gomez. Gomez hasn't even hit AA, so I don't think he will start any games. Garcia, I think, needs to work a lot in the minors. And Steven Ridings, he's been injured. I don't think he's going to pitch at all next season. Now, let's go down and talk about the position players on this team. Starting at catcher, you have Gary Sanchez, and his backup is Kyle Higashioka. He wasn't non-tendered. He's here to stay. Whether you like it or not, he's an average catcher, and he's going to be on the team. At first base, if no trades are done, Luke Voit will be the first baseman. He didn't play too much last season. When he did play, he was bad. But he led the league in home runs in 2020. I think that he has a lot of upside. And if that's our current first baseman, I'm not mad, but I'm not happy. At second, I think Gleyber Torres should play there. He's done his best. He's hit his best at second. He seems more confident there. And I think you could have DJ as a second baseman, but I view him more as a utility player. At third base, Gio Urshela. And at shortstop, you have a dilemma. Gio was used a little bit at short, so I could see him getting some reps there. But he's not a third base or a shortstop. Torres can't play there that well. I think this is where we will end up trading for a player or signing a player after the lockout. If we do not, then our shortstop will be Oswald Peraza. Peraza played in all the way through high A to triple A in the minors this season. And in 115 games, he hit .297 with a .356 on base percentage and .477 slugging for an OPS of .834. It's really good defensively. Also is very fast. He swiped 38 bags. Cashman said his defense is major league ready and the bat isn't, and I agree with that. So I think that we could see a little bit of him next season, but overall, we're probably going to sign someone or trade for someone. Now, the main backup in the infield is not Tyler Wade, because he was traded a little while ago, but it's Oswaldo Cabrera. Now, Cabrera is a switch-hitting second baseman / shortstop / third baseman, a.k.a. anywhere in the infield, he will play. In 118 games where he played in AA and AAA, he hit .272 with a .330 on base percentage, .533 slugging, and an OPS of .863. He's the utility guy. I think that his bat isn't MLB ready, though, and we are truly missing that elite utility guy, unless you consider LeMahieu that. But I want him as an everyday starter. I think he'll rebound. Now, on to the outfield. For me, I think that Giancarlo Stanton plays left field. If there's a DH, give it to him the majority of the days, but don't make him a permanent DH. That plagued us last year when he wasn't playing in National League games because he couldn't play the field. I know there might be a universal DH, but still, we have to give Gallo days off and Judge days off while still having their bats in the lineup. And Voit and LeMahieu. We have a lot of players who are going to need some days off while not playing the field. And I think having a permanent DH will hurt you. I think he should primarily DH, as he's the worst defensive outfielder on the team. But you cannot just throw him out as the DH every day. Play him in left field when he's ready and healthy. In center field, I will have Joey Gallo. He's the most athletic outfielder, has one of the better arms, plays good defense. You could also see Judge playing in center. It's really just a toss-up. Either Gallo's in center or Judge is in right. For utility, in the outfield, Aaron Hicks is an option. He was plagued by injuries, broke his wrist. He's been playing in winter ball. He's done okay in there. It's guaranteed $10 million. He's going to be on the roster. This is another reason why I would have Stanton as the DH a lot, because it allows you to play Hicks and center, Gallo in left, and then Judge in right, so you're not missing out on any of those outfielders, and you're getting that switch hitter in. The main backup is Estevan Florial, who's all right. He's a very athletic outfielder, good defense, good speed. It's not that good, though. In AAA, in 78 games, he hit .218 with a .315 on base percentage, .404 slugging for an OPS of .719. I would have loved to keep Greg Allen for this. is I think that we need another backup outfielder that's a little bit better than Florial, but that's what we would be stuck with if this was the roster today. So hopefully some moves are made and we add some players, but as this currently stands, this is the roster. So if you appreciate this stuff, then make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as this takes a good bit of time, and I hope you enjoyed.